So I think I can once and for all solve this debate whether games are art and how much. You see, without referencing any other source, what my belief is that art is life demonstrating its reasons for living. Now, how come? Well, art is a product of us saying what we want, what we really want from our emotions. We want more such sounds, more such music. We want more such vistas, such sights. We want to live amongst such beautiful things. We want them to decorate our existence so that we can lay our eyes and our ears and everything upon such beauty every day, every time, at any moment. We want the world to transform into what we depict through art. Of course, art is our method to give relief to these desires because whilst sometimes we can put it to words and sometimes not, the world usually doesn't give us the resources to have all of that all at the same time or now. So we hope to get to that later, even if it's one faraway day in the future, no matter how vastly different and how many things have passed in the meantime. Or we're just wanting it to happen, no matter how much even we ourselves sometimes believe that it won't. We just want what we want. The heart wants what it desires. And as such, art is our expression of things that mean so much to us that we continue living in order to experience more of them or to reach them and experience them again or for the first time. And in the meantime, we simulate them, talk about them, depict them, transfer them, share them. We do whatever we can to bring our desires to life. So, if this is art, then games, if made the way you would expect games to be made, they are by their very definition art. For you see, games are made to give us purpose to play them. They want to exchange all of that art inside of them for our attention. They will give us the activity, the sight, the sound, in order for us to consider them worth playing. The better the game is, the more art it is because it's hitting those goals of all art more perfectly. The more game is removed from this concept, the less of an art piece it is, because it was not directed to be so in the first place. Of course, that would be some inept game making, because you should be at least somewhat aware of this concept of games being what we desire to see in order to make a game. Otherwise, we would end up with completely nonsensical and boring things that are not even interesting for novelty purposes. Art should awake those emotions, not leave them far behind, slumbering. So, our games, by their definition of making, are art in almost all cases. Anything else just sort of missed the purpose of being a video game. Or perhaps even a game entirely. Now, if games are art and this is art, is all art escapism? Is it? Well, no. You see, many people would have us these days, they just get up on the wrong foot, I guess, and they would want us to not immerse ourselves in such things. They tell you, you shouldn't be enjoying childish things. You shouldn't try to look at those fantasies. Those are not real. You're being lame. That's what they tell us. But is it true that there is no further purpose to art than just escapism? Well, no, not at all. In fact, art as such is extremely critical to life of any intelligent being. You see, imagine a garden around your home, whatever it may be, building or a house, it doesn't matter. The garden is artistically gardened to be beautiful, having all kinds of flowers, from roses to dandelions and everything in between. Of course, it can have some statues and some other greenery. It can have chairs and table and a gazebo. And, well, we don't live in a garden. We live in our house. But we do want to spend as much time as we can relaxing in that garden, enjoying some perfect moments that we could get for ourselves if we were privileged to have such resources, to have such a garden, whether by circumstance or our own money, but we have fought hard to be able to just sit down for an hour with friends over tea and enjoy just such wonders. Both sights and smells and decorativeness of the design, its symbolics, its language of flowers, its architecture, everything in combination, as well as the conditions of the weather, like being in the shade on a sunny day, where that gazebo comes in handy. But anyways, to not stretch this too long, what we achieve with spending time in this garden is to reaffirm what we are fighting for. We want to, when we return to our drudgery, fight to have more such possibilities. We want more time in wonder with our friends. We want more beautiful things. And we have built a whole garden that is maybe more expensive than our place of living because we wanted to enjoy our goals, to reaffirm ourselves, to go into that fantasy and then remember it better and then come back to fight, bringing our new standards and fighting for them. If we go to a picnic, even if we can't have a garden around us, even if we go to a picnic once a year at most, but we have a good picnic, we'll remember it well, and then we'll bring it back with us, and then we'll fight. So, art is the exact opposite of escapism. It is our reaffirmation to fight for our new standards that we have went into the fantasy, went into the simulation, went into idealism to fetch and bring back. Because if we had nothing to look at, then we would have nothing to fight for. People who would tell you otherwise, people who want you to stop enjoying childish things, and people who want you to have no fantasy, you're not supposed to indulge in your power fantasies, they say. If you don't, then they just want you to, as a living being, as life, they want you to just represent the current condition. No further development, no striving for better things, no hope, only despair, only mechanical flesh and decay. They want us to lie back and not move anymore. They want to reconfirm that they are all well and good. They don't need imagination. They are tough. They represent the current state of the matter. They don't need anything, they claim. And yet, people are desperate when they don't have anything. So this is just a desperate cry of a living being saying, "Look, I am a tough animal, do not attack me anymore." Trying to seem tough in front of pain, in front of horror of not having anything good. And they will claim they have plenty of good things, real things. But real things are only good when shared together in fantasy. If you don't want to say, improve your relationships through enjoyment, if you don't want to have more fun and go on more interesting things with your friends, with your dates, with your everyone who you love and care about, well then, are you actually having that time with those people and with yourself? Or are you just convincing them and yourself? But even if it's all true and somebody is successfully having everything they want in reality and it's good for them and they're somehow self-generating art through movements of their own life, which is entirely possible in really, really good circumstances, they still shouldn't deny everyone else, a vast majority, from bringing back the future. So as I was saying, art is the exact opposite of escapism. We go into art, we go into fantasy deep down to see a new world, then bring it back here to make this world into the new world, because we want what we want, as art states, as life demonstrates. So that is what I believe art is, and that is why I think that games are simply a combination of arts. Sound, music, playing of rules and interplay, metas, many more things like writing and storytelling and immersiveness, decoration, symbology. All of those things and many more go into games, and games are the most complicated art we have currently. One day, they'll be a full-on simulation, and it'll be the most complex art form to have ever exist and be all arts combined. But even until then, games are art unless people make them with some opposite mean wishes inside, whether accidentally or deliberately. But as long as they strive to actually make something that they would really want to live through, then that game will be art. So adventure, if you thought this was unique, maybe you can spare me a click. And I could see you here next, or perhaps even every week, because there's always more content I make for you. I'm M, and welcome to the DM table. See you next time. Bye.